Veterans Day is tomorrow. It was originally called Armistice Day to commemorate the end of World War I, which ended at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month back in 1918. There are no living veterans from that war still around. And of the 16 million American vets from World War II, only a little more than 500,000 are still with us.
KCRA 3's Mike Carroll got to spend some time with one of those, a Sacramento native who served and keeps those memories alive.
And they're the most beautiful sights you ever saw in your life, these silver aircraft. That was living, I'll tell you.
Spend a little time with 95-year-old Glen Vanderfort and count on hearing about the legendary P-38 Lightning fighter bomber from World War II.
I went up to 40,000 feet one day, and I could see the curvature of the earth, and I could see 3 states. And I was about to freeze to death because it was 62 below zero up there.
This model hangs from his ceiling with the number 425948, the last P-38 that Glen flew.
I've been going to find out the history of it, where it went after the war.
A native of Natomas before the war, as a teenager, Glen was already flying with his father.
We used to fly all over, down to Arizona and down to Los Angeles and everything.
He was barely 20 years old when America entered the war, and he enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Corps.
The rest of the class got orders to go to England as B-17 co-pilots, and my CO said you can take anybody but him. And I had a superior rating, luckily, and they made an instructor out of me, which I didn't feel was very fair, but doggone it, it saved my life. I realize that now.
Glen's job was to turn young airmen fresh out of flight school into combat-ready pilots in the P-38 Lightning, which was unlike any other plane in World War II. All the other planes had a body with wings attached on either side, whereas the P-38 was one long wing with 2 engines and a pilot's cockpit attached. To train each group of pilots, he was given only 6 weeks, a mere 42 days, working 18-hour days from 6 in the morning to midnight.
But I put the finishing touches on them before they left for combat.
The need at the time was enormous.
Now, we lost 36,000 airmen over Germany.
When the war was over, Glen Vanderfort never flew again. Instead, he married and for 48 years worked with his father-in-law at Newbert's Hardware Store, a Sacramento institution until the early 90s.
You're going to miss this place when you leave.
Definitely. You can't spend 48 years in a particular routine without being, or not knowing that you're going to miss it, and miss it terribly, probably.
Today, 5 years from being a century in age, Glen attends air shows and military parades, and will talk to anybody who asks him about the legendary P-38 Lightning.
Oh, it was a classy outfit, I'll tell you.
In Sacramento, I'm Mike Carroll, KCRA 3 News.
Not a great story. Glen Vanderfort will be riding in the Veterans Day Parade tomorrow morning in Elk Grove. Ceremonies begin at 10. The parade gets underway at 11. And if you're interested, it begins at the Elk Grove Shopping Center and ends at Elk Grove Regional Park. And I think I speak for all of us when I say thank you for your service, and so proud that he has accomplished so much and he's still around to tell us these stories.
Part of the greatest generation, for sure. All right.